sharing with you polishes that I wore in October. Before we get started, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you like seeing these kinds of videos, and if you're not already subscribed, make sure you do that too. So October was an amazing month for polish as usual. Altogether I wore about 15 different manicures, but that did involve a few more polishes than 15 because there was a Skittle in there and a few other things. Of course it was Halloween season, so I did find myself reaching for some spookier shades throughout the month. I'm personally really drawn to like deep vampy shades. I really enjoyed the grungier colors this month, which is new for me, so very exciting. And then some of the manicures I wore were just, you know, your beautiful fall staple colors. So if this is your first time checking out one of my What I Wore videos, we're gonna take a look at the polishes I wore for pedicures first. There's not very many of those this month. We'll get into that later. And then we take a look at all of my manicures for the month and I share pictures. So first we look at the ones that I kind of liked. Then we take a look at the polishes that I wasn't a fan of that I'm considering destashing. And then at the end, the polishes that I just couldn't get enough of, the ones I just didn't want to take off. All right, so we'll get into pedicures first. I only wore one in the month of October. Yeah, just with my growing pregnant belly, it's getting harder and harder to do pedicures, and I find that my nails are growing really fast, which is wonderful, but not so much for pedicures because I've been getting a lot of rubbing with my shoes and stuff, and they just don't seem to stay on very well. So the one pedicure I wore this month is from Color Club, and it's called Twice Bitten. It is a deep, rich, vampy, red-leaning purple cream. And I loved this as a pedicure. It's definitely one I'll reach for as a pedicure in the future, but probably a manicure too. It was almost a one coater. I did end up going in for two, but I think I could have stuck with one and been just plenty happy. The formula was gorgeous. I think, yep, either it has a paddle brush or I changed it out for a paddle brush, I don't remember. A perfect formula, gorgeous color. It is one of those shades that if you're in lower lighting kind of looks like it could be a black shade. It's that dark in regular lighting, but you can see here in the bright lighting that it does come off to be a really beautiful shade of purple. All right, on to manicures, and we're starting with polishes that I liked. Okay. The first one comes from Holo Taco and it's called Rainbow Flood. This is another gorgeous, rich, vampy purple shade with a lot of linear holographic pigment. This one I kind of got on a whim last year when it released. I think it released last year, and I had some regrets when I purchased it because it just doesn't seem like a polish that I typically would want to wear. But I've been really trying to reach for those polishes more because if I don't want them in my collection, I want to destash them, and I thought this one would be one that I would end up destashing. Fortunately, I liked it a whole lot more than I expected to. It's a really unique shade of purple. I don't have any other linear holographics like this in my collection, and I found that the linear holographic pigment kind of gave it a gray cast look, and of course the holo was completely beautiful. So we'll be re-wearing this one, don't plan to destash it, and yeah, I'm actually glad I picked it up. Another one I wore this month is from OPI. This is a staple, Don't Bossa Nova Me Around. I've heard so many amazing nail YouTubers that I really enjoy watching, and swatchers on Instagram too, or just nail appreciators on Instagram, talk about how much they love this shade, and now I understand why. It is a almost white cream shade with a good amount, I feel like, of purple in it, a little bit of gray. It's kind of hard to describe, especially because in the bottle I thought it was a very soft pinky purple with a lot of white in it, but once I got it on my nails I did not feel like it looked purple at all. I really did feel like it looked like a light cream or pink against my skin tone. I do wish more of the purple would have come out on the nails, but I still really enjoyed this anyway. It gave me a beautiful, clean, fresh look and had an awesome formula. I think it was a two-coater. Another one I wore and enjoyed this month is from BCB Lacquer, and it's called Grimm's Fairy Tales. This one is beautiful. It is a vampy red base with shimmer that shifts gold to green to copper and holographic pigment, and it's super, super fine. I think I wore this one on the first day of October. I was just really ready to embrace those vampy fall October shades, and this one definitely hit the mark for me. It was so close to getting into that completely love category, but just when I put it beside some of those polishes, I was like, well, I mean, I didn't like it quite as much as those, but it is a beautiful, beautiful shade. This is the original one that released, I think, in May 2021, but I think it came back for re-release this year for Rewind for polish pickup with even more holo or a different kind of holo. But if you have this one and you haven't worn it yet, definitely recommend. I loved wearing it. Another one I was so excited to finally get around to this year is from 90 Lacquer, and it's called Singer Auto Salvage. This one I feel like is one of the most talked about 90 Lacquer polishes out there. I feel like every green lover has this polish and just adores it, and I am kind of becoming a green lover, which some of you have noticed, so I couldn't wait to get this one on my nails this fall. It is a beautiful yellow leaning olive base with gold holographic glitters. It's got a bad case of ugly bottle syndrome, but looked absolutely beautiful on the nails. I really, really enjoyed wearing this one. I do think it took 3 coats to build up, but it was well worth it, and well worth the pain of removing the glitter. It was a beautiful, beautiful shade of green. Another one I wore this month is from nailedit, and it's called Arcane. This one I would describe as having like a taupey gray base with a lot of shifting shimmer, maybe even bordering like a multi-chrome because the shifts are so intense. They shift from red to gold to green to copper, and then it's got holographic flakes as well. This one was completely stunning, and when I wore it, I just couldn't stop staring at the shifts. I think I only wore it for a day, which is a dang shame because I was just in that mood, you know? Maybe some of you get it too. When you put something on and it's beautiful, but you just want to wear all the things. That's how I was feeling when I put this on. I wanted to wear it, but I was ready for the next thing. But gosh, this one is beautiful. So super duper shifty. Yeah, I'll definitely be reaching for this one again soon. And then the last polish in this middle category comes from 90 Lacquer. It's called Blood of a Wendigo. This one I would describe as being a vampy oxblood, borderline brown, very, very deep browny red base with some multi-chrome flakies that shift red to gold to copper to green and some holographic glitters. I actually wore this one as a triplet mani, which I think that was the first time I've ever done that before. It was super fun with Mercedes at Hey Mercedes and with Carolina at Gotta Love Polish. And both of them have Instagram accounts and YouTube channels too, so I will link that information down in the description box. If you're not following them, you so should. But this polish was so beautiful and vampy. It's just one of those polishes that makes you feel like a total baddie. That's how I felt when I wore this. It was just so vampy and dark and mysterious. It did take 3 coats for me to get it nice and even. It was pretty in 2, but in 3 it got really smooth. Like I could still see into a little bit of my nail showing through in certain places because it does have a jelly base. But yeah, this one I actually, when I purchased it, I thought it was going to be more of a red. Ended up looking more brown on the nails, but didn't mind at all. Super spooky and perfect for this time of year. And there was one polish this month that I just did not vibe with at all. Womp womp. It comes from Ethereal Lacquer, and it's called Asphodel. This one was a purchase. It came out in the Persephone collection earlier this year. It is a kind of taupey, silvery base with a lot of gorgeous holographic flakies. I tried so hard to love this one because I purchased it knowing that a lot of people with my skin tone or very similar skin tone, when they swatched it, I loved the way their swatches came out. It just looked like a kind of dirty champagne-y base, but on me, I just felt like it was a little lackluster. It came off more silvery than I was expecting it to, and just, I mean, maybe I'd like it more in the winter, but I have other silver flaky holographic polishes that I like more than this one, so unfortunately, I think I'm gonna be destashing it. All right, on to the manicures that I absolutely loved. The first one comes from ILNP and it's called Misery. This came out in a couple years ago Halloween collections. I think the one that came out with maybe Eclipse? I think so. It is a rusty reddish orange flaky metallic polish with holographic. This one was beautiful. full. Why did I wait so long to wear it? That's what I have to say with all of my untried polishes that I just fell in love with. I wish I would have worn this when I purchased it because it knocked my socks off. It was just so sparkly and vampy and rich. One of my friends, Brittany, said that she wore this for for Thanksgiving last year, and I can totally see it being the perfect polish for Thanksgiving. It just reminds me of everything warm and cozy, and I loved this manicure. I wore it for 2 or 3 days. Another one I just enjoyed so much this month was from Bee's Lacquer, and it's called Man of Your Dreams. It's what I would describe as being a super grayed out grungy green base with shimmer that is larger particle that shifts red to gold to green. This one actually had a shockingly creamy formula. Whenever I think of Bee's Lacquer shimmers, I always think jellies. Sometimes they do tend to be a little bit sheer, but this one was fully opaque in 2 coats, and my oh my, it was beautiful. I really liked the way that the grungy, cool-toned green base looked against my skin tone, and it was super duper shifty. This is one that I purchased, so it's always so satisfying when a polish you spent your money on ends up being one that you love so much. Another one I really enjoyed is one that I almost destashed because it just took me so long to get around to it. I'm ashamed to say that. It comes from Wildflower Lacquer, and it's called Captive Heart. This one released in HHC in January of 2021, so I've had it for a while, and it's what I would describe as being like a purpley magenta base with a strong blue to pink shimmer and holographic flakes. I can't believe I even considered getting rid of this. It is ridiculously beautiful. Oh my goodness, just the way that this base color looked against my skin tone, and I truly feel like it would look beautiful on anyone, was flawless. The formula was perfect. It was fully opaque in 2 coats. The shimmer showed through. The holographic flakes just added a little extra twinkle. I really enjoyed this one. Another one that I wore for a good 3 days. One that I also love, but only wore for a couple days because of the time of year, was a combo. I wore 2 polishes for Halloween. The first one as a base was Mummy of the Year from Glisten and Glow, which is a white crelly with orange hex glitters, orange micro glitters, and black hex glitters, and black micro glitters. And I think the orange larger glitters are holographic, but the rest are not, I think. This one had a beautiful formula, and I bought it specifically this year for Halloween, so I had to get it on my nails for that holiday. I just was craving a beautiful Halloween crelly that didn't have anything except for orange, black, and a white base. That's what I really wanted. Well, I realized when I pulled this Glisten and Glow to wear for Halloween that there was another polish that I specifically bought for Halloween this year about a year ago, and I had to wear that one too. Luckily, it was a topper, so I just paired the 2 together. But the topper I also wore for Halloween is from Noodles nail polish, and it's called Hallo-queen. It has a clear base, of course, with a ton of gorgeous holographic sparkly glitters in orange, silver, and purple. There's micro glitter and then larger hex glitters in here. It might have some white too. No, I think those are silver. I was a little worried that a glitter crelly paired with a glitter topper would just be glitter overload for me. You all know that's not my absolute favorite finish in nail polish, so I thought it would be a little bit too much, especially with how Noodles nail polish packs their glitter toppers. But fortunately, I was completely in love with this combination. The base was beautiful, and you could still see a little bit of that white peeking through, but then the glitters in the Noodles nail polish just added so much sparkle. It made me feel like I was going to like a Halloween party or something. It was so fun, and definitely love this combo. 4 more manis, and the next one I'm going to talk about is a Skittle Manicure with some of my favorite pink polishes. So recently I got to do actually a couple live streams with Caitlin Swatches, which if you haven't checked out her channel, I'm sure you have. But if you haven't, I will link it down below. And it's been so much fun. Caitlin is the absolute sweetest. She's even nicer than I realized just watching her videos. So that's been a blast. And the first live stream we did together was we shared our favorite pink polishes. I actually painted them as a Skittle Manicure on my non-swatching hand, my Cindy hand, and then during the live stream swatched them on my swatching hand so that I could wear them for a couple days because they're my favorite pinks. Hello, and I love pink. So the polishes that I included in that Skittle Manicure were ILNP Sweet Pea, which is a super duper soft, almost like rosy, nudie pink base with really delicate holographic flakies. This one's on the sheer side. It did build up to pretty good opacity for me in 3 coats, but I could see some nail line. I wore that one on my pinky. On my ring finger, I wore Cirque Colors Jet Setter. This one is a staple. I've had it. It's probably one of the oldest polishes that I have that's not a mainstream polish, because Cirque Colors was one of the brands that I shopped from first before I got into indies. And it has a really soft purple leaning pink base with a strong blue flash and those fine holographic particles that Cirque Colors does so well. On my middle finger, I wore Stella Chroma's Summer Sandals, which is a beautiful, soft, kind of muted, but bright pink holographic. It's linear, it's got a jelly formula, and is fully opaque in 2 coats. So beautiful. On my pointer finger, I wore the extremely sparkly Cupcake Polish Mr. Mint, and that is a beautiful, bright, fun, summery pink base with a lot of holographic micro glitter. And then on my thumb, I wore from Colors to Carol Friends and Family, which is a bright pink jelly base with holographic moon-shaped flakies. So of course I love that Skittle. It was my favorite pinks of all time, I think. We ended up, if you haven't seen that live stream, you should definitely check it out. But we ended up each sharing at least 10 polishes that we love that were pink. But those, I think, are my very favorite of the ones that I shared. And I love them so much. 3 more. Also from Stella Chroma, we have their May 2022 Mystery. I was really feeling the white Crellies this month. This one is a white Crelly base with a lot of black irregular shaped flakies. This is probably not the most unique polish. I know a lot of brands have come out with a polish similar to this recently. If you don't have one, you should grab one if you like white polishes, because this was so fun to wear. I wore this one for 4 borderline 5 days, which is saying a lot for me. That's why I didn't get so many polishes on my nails this month, because there were a few I just could not take off, and this was one of them. It had a beautiful formula. It was fully opaque in 2 coats. Unfortunately, it's not available anymore because it was a monthly mystery, but I know Painted Polish recently came out with a white Crelly with black flakes that looks very similar to this. So if you haven't seen that and you like this, go check that out. But yeah, I just didn't want to take this off. I completely loved it. 2 more. One from Ethereal that I did love is Ethereal No You Hang Up First. And I think it says a lot about a polish when you get it so recently and you just can't wait to put it on. This came out in September's? Yes, September's Halloween themed polish pickup. It is the most blue glowy base ever. It's got some blue shimmer in there and lots of holographic flakes. This one was mind-blowingly beautiful. I could not stop staring at my nails because the glow was just so incredibly intense. The holo was just the icing on top of the cake. Y'all know I love that combination, beautiful shimmer and holo, and this ticked those boxes. I didn't find it to be particularly spooky. It felt like one that honestly I could see myself wearing in winter as well. So if you haven't worn it yet, you should definitely reach for it around the winter time, but the name was spooky and I just really wanted to wear it, so I went ahead and put it on. And the final polish I wore this month was really early in the month, but I had to wait to share it on my Instagram account because it was an advent calendar polish. This came out in the Bluebird Lacquer Boobird advent calendar. It's called Witchful Thinking. It is a bright, incredibly beautiful orange base with shimmer that shifts orange to gold and that classic Bluebird Lacquer Shattered Holo formula. This one was sheer perfection. Not sheer at all though. It was fully opaque and almost one coat, definitely into, and just was the most bright, fun, pumpkin-y orange color. I loved wearing this one. I wore it for 2 or 3 days. I didn't want to take it off. It was so sparkly in the sun and the shimmer was fantastic and the color in general was gorgeous. I got lots of compliments when I wore this one. So those were all the polishes that I wore in October. Let me know down in the comments if we twinned at all. Did you wear any of these shades too? Or are you thinking of grabbing them? If they're still available, I will link them down in the description box. But yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous month. I hope you all are having a wonderful fall season and that I will see you soon. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.